Alexis Nunes alongside Janusz Michallik. A busy day of some interesting matchups in the Premier League. Janusz, let's get right into the first one, which is Spurs up against Aston Villa and Postecoglou up against Unai Emery. Very interesting matchup, but it's Spurs that yet again this week come away with another big scalp. They knocked Manchester City out of the League Cup earlier this week, and this time they came from behind against Aston Villa at home to thrash them 4-1, a game which honestly, Janusz, 60, 70 minutes in, I don't think I saw 4-1 at the end of it, but that's exactly what happened. Would you say this is a statement win from Spurs?
Well, I don't know about statement. I think we need some stability. We all know that Spurs have been excellent at home, right, so far, but certainly up and down. Maybe in the first half, not the spectacle that we expected for sure, but I think tactically was excellent, and maybe that's why I'm surprised why Villa lost by such a big margin, right? Because I think in the first half. I mean, it was, I was thinking you got to be showing, the tactics of Unai Emery in coaching schools. I mean, it was absolutely excellent. Not that they've done anything going forward, but defensively, I mean, they were so well organized, executed the game plan, biding their time. And of course, that goal came in on a set piece because, as I've said, they haven't done all that much. So surprising result in the end, I suppose. But I think we're looking at two teams that kind of want to permanently be in the top six and maybe even top four. We know, of course, Villa have been up there.
And I have to obviously ask you again about the tactics, because just be honest with me, Janusz, when Ange Postecoglou started making changes for Spurs, for example, taking off Sonny, bringing on the likes of Richarlison, even Sonny himself was surprised after he, had a huge part to play in that equalizing goal. What did you make of it? And just showing that Ange, he's a man that is ready to make the big decisions no matter what. And this time he got them right.
Yeah, a couple of things about that. I mean, let's face it, Matty Cash was absolutely excellent. I mean, Heung-Son was non-existent in the first half. Matty Cash was, as we saw, very, very close to him. Matty Cash himself got injured. In the second half, of course, that cross came in. Matty Cash maybe could have pressured that. I'm not, I don't know if I put it on him in terms of that goal alone, but I could understand why he did that, because Son, coming off injury, was ineffective in the first half. And also, I think it's just part of keeping him safe, right? And as we saw, everything was right. There was a number of different substitutions. We saw Richarlison himself. Was injured. But I think, I was surprised a little bit not to see Bissouma, but then he came in, he played a part. You look at Maddison, who certainly was benched because he wasn't very good in the previous games. He comes in and he scores from a free kick as well. So I think all the substitutions, at least on the part of Ange Postecoglou, were spot on.
Spot on indeed. I was wondering if John Duran was going to do something, because we always know exactly what he's capable of coming off of the bench. But let's talk about the goals specifically for Spurs right now, especially Dominic Solanke, who in the last couple of games, I think in the last 4 or 5, he hadn't even managed a shot on target, I think, since Spurs' thrashing of Manchester United, which now seems like many moons ago for some of us. But now he got two brilliant goals as well. Exactly what you kind of want from your number 9. Is it just a matter of finally getting back in the mix and that confidence? And now do you expect him to be back to the Dominic Solanke we saw before that little drought?
Well, it's a funny world, isn't it? How that goes? Because you're right. I mean, just as much as Spurs needed that win, I think, to keep up, Dominic Solanke needed it. I think hasn't scored in 8 straight in all competitions. So, obviously coming on the heels of Harry Kane, that's never easy. We've seen about players. I was looking Bournemouth against Manchester City yesterday, right? I mean, there's Solanke with so many goals leaving, and you have Evan Nielsen and you have Semenyo who've picked up the slack and continue the excellence that is Bournemouth these days. But for him, of course, it's always important. That first goal was excellent. Not so much even on Solanke, the little clip, but the ball from Dejan Kulusevski was spectacular. It's a simple ball, it seems, but when you look closer, the weight of the ball, the side of the defender that he put it on, where Solanke didn't even have to take a touch on that one, goalkeeper already committed, and not just any goalkeeper, one of the best out there. So yes, I mean, you take that, of course, the second one tap in, but he had to get there, and you could see that he was motoring to make sure that he puts that away from Richarlison, who pulled a hamstring while giving him the pass. So yeah, as a striker, I suppose, not that I would know because I've never been one, but games like these go a long way, because Spurs are going to need Dominic Solanke that's scoring goals consistently, and not like he wasn't scoring in the last 8 games, as I've mentioned.
And now the commentators, I suppose, were slightly joking with Unai Emery at the end, saying that he looked like he just saw a ghost. You go from absolute jubilation in the first half to literally looking like he saw a ghost. And we know this is a man that has it all up here. He is a brilliant tactician, brilliant manager. But after a performance and result like the one he saw today, what questions will we have? Does this pretty much just show that for all Aston Villa have accomplished under him in such short a time, they still are a work in progress?
They absolutely are, and it just goes to show how difficult it is to juggle, 2 seasons like that. I mean, here we are, Villa at the top of the league in the Champions League, beating Bayern Munich, and I mean, last 5 games, 3 draws and a loss for Aston Villa. And by the way, it's not like they played badly, as you've mentioned. I mean, the first half, I thought to myself, this is just an incredible performance, because you're going away to Spurs. It's never going to be easy. I've mentioned that home form of Spurs. I think everything was near perfect, because as much as Spurs had all the ball, they weren't creating much, and that organization, as I mentioned, and execution was perfect. And that just 3-4 minutes into the second half, that equalizer, I think you saw Villa coming undone. So it's a tough one. I think the Villa fans and Unai Emery will know that, and you pay the price for all that. I think you really do. So I think we're going to see Villa back at their best, but I just think that, Champions League, the way they've been playing, and Premier League, it's not easy. That squad is good, but it's not as deep as Unai Emery would like to have it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Janusz. Absolutely, always a pleasure. 3 of the top 5 going into this Premier League weekend now have been beaten. Huge chance for Chelsea to get into the top 4. They're getting ready to face off against Manchester United in what is going to be yet another interesting post-Eric Ten Hag matchup. Janusz and I have to go watch that, so we're going to go, and we'll be back here on ESPN FC to break that one down.
We're live. Join us.